The following video is an introductory video to the unit Civil War and Reconstruction as taught in the 9th grade International Baccalaureate U.S. History class. The video focuses on the main causes of the Civil War to introduce how America came to be how it is today. The U.S. Civil War started in 1861 and ended in 1865 and led to over 618,000 casualties. Its causes can be traced back to tensions that formed early in the nation's history. To say the Civil War was caused by slavery would be an oversimplification. There's way more to the story. To make things easier to understand, I'm going to explain the top 5 causes to the Civil War. Yes, there are more than 5 causes that alluded to this war, but it can be simplified to the top 5 that were said to cause the most tension between the North and the South. To begin, the first cause said to commence the Civil War is infrastructure. Infrastructure refers to the supply and economic output happening in the mid-1800s. The northern and southern United States were nearly 2 different countries at this point in time. The South was an agricultural powerhouse due to the massive output of cotton production. The North tried to catch up with the South by diversifying their economy, which ended up hurting the South. The South was known as having a one-crop economy, which eventually led them to halt in the production of income. This led to an uncanny division of the northern and southern sectors of the United States. A second cause of the Civil War can be directed towards state rights. The North and the South had many disagreements within what was written in the Articles of Confederation. The biggest disagreement was the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850. The South wanted to keep slavery, and the North was obviously against it. The idea of nullification was brought up by Andrew Jackson, but then turned down by the federal government, which was said to hinder state rights. From there, the tension between the North and the South continued. A third cause of the Civil War can be labeled as new status. As the United States continually expanded west, and the new states had to be labeled as freer slave states, it led to a power struggle between the North and the South. To settle the tension that was forming, the Compromise of 1850 was formed, which introduced popular sovereignty. Popular sovereignty allowed the state's populace vote to deem it as a freer slave state. The idea of popular sovereignty was turned down in the Kansas-Nebraska Act of 1954, which then increased tension between the North and the South even more. A fourth cause that will be touched on briefly is the abolitionists. Abolitionists pushed for free states. Increasingly, the Northerners became more polarized against slavery. Sympathies began to grow for abolitionists and against slavery and slaveholders. Finally, the fifth and last cause of the Civil War was the election of Abraham Lincoln. Even though things were already coming to a head, when Lincoln was elected in 1860, South Carolina issued its Declaration of the Causes of Secession. They believed that Lincoln was anti-slavery and in favor of Northern interest. Before Lincoln was even president, 7 states had seceded from the Union: South Carolina, Mississippi, Florida, Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, and Texas. With all of these states having succeeded, it led to the Civil War. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this informative video on the Civil War and Reconstruction. If you would like to learn more, feel free to go back to the home page, look at the navigation bar, and find Units, then find Civil War Reconstruction, click on the link, and there will be more details on that page. Or you may ask your wonderful, talented, and amazing teacher, Mrs. Tash. Thanks again for watching.